you're not supposed to play like that, I see.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Keys from PremierGuitar.com. I'm hanging out with Jim, the Rev Heath from Reverend Horton Heat. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Doing good, thank you.
All right. How's the tour going so far?
It's going well. It's going, we tour all the time, so it's kind of like our tour has been going for about 25 years now, so pretty good.
We're Premier Guitar here, so we're going to get down to business. I want to talk specifically about your signature Gretsch.
Okay.
I mean, what did you have in design in terms of what you wanted your guitar? Because obviously you probably played many Gretches, but which one particular appointments or anything that you wanted to have your guitar, to be the signature for yourself?
Well, several different things. One thing that I think makes this guitar pretty easy is that I wanted to veer away from the absolute vintage tuning keys, because these have the locking tuning keys, and it makes it much easier to change the strings on a Bigsby. When you change the string on a Bigsby, you kind of have to bend it around down here and then hold it on there while you're holding this. It's almost like you need three hands. Just basically wanted a vintage sounding vibe with the pickups, so they're not really super hot pickups or anything. They're just really well made TV Jones Filtertron replicas. I think they're a little bit brighter than what the Filtertrons that I have on my old Gretches are. But that's kind of cool, because that gives me a little bit of a spankiness, so I can kind of get a little bit of a Telecaster type of thing if need be.
And you also have the maple back and sides, correct?
Right, correct. Yeah, and then like I said, it's a lacquer coat, which is a little bit better than some kind of paint or different types of heavier varnishes and stuff. And
do you feel that lets the guitar breathe a little bit more?
Yeah, I think it gives it a little bit more resonance. And then it's got the little pinned, you can't see it, but underneath here there's these little pins inside the body that keeps the bridge from moving. And on my older guitars that don't have that, since I kind of have a little bit of almost too aggressive type way of playing, these things are always like getting jerked back and forth and up and down, and that keeps it more stable. Instead of going with the gold hardware, I kind of like the silver a little bit better. I think it just changes up a little bit and something a little bit different. And
electronics-wise, is there anything different in terms of the wiring and your
they talked me into this thing where like the old style Gretsch, where you have these different types of phases, but I completely don't use that at all. I really don't even use it. I just do. I typically I'm doing a treble pickup thing, but then if it's a little bit of a bluesier or a little bit more of a blues or a jazzier vibe, then I'll move it up to the rhythm pickup. And then I do occasionally I'll switch between the two in the middle of a song, but very rarely. I had one of these that had the gold pick guard, and since this was going to have silver, I said just make the pick guard clear, because you can paint the back of it. I'd painted the back of it so you could get different colors, or whatever, and so that was kind of cool.
You got the cool Western motif here in the
yeah, well, that's because when I really focused on I bought a reissue Gretsch in 1989 or 90, and I think it was an 89 model, but I'm not sure exactly what year I got it. It might have been 1990, but it was kind of a bit of a Gretsch that didn't exist, because it was like the 55 Gretsch or the mid-50s Gretsch Chet Atkins that had these, but those had the old DeArmond style pickups and not the Filtertrons. So it's a bit of a guitar that never really existed, I don't think. But, the thing about Gretsch, too, is there's a lot of guitars they could have made that nobody really even knows, because the Gretsch factory or their office had a fire, and a long time ago, and a lot of the records of what guitars were made and how and who bought them and what have you got destroyed in the fire. So
What are you using currently on this leg of the tour?
it's a '78 Fender Super Reverb that I've used on all of our albums. And then just recently, Gretsch let me borrow a Gretsch Executive Amp, and I really like it. And it's actually very similar to the Super Reverb as far as the vibe and everything, except the high end. When I get to the higher registers, there's more clarity there, and I don't. And the Super Reverb, it sounds good up in those registers, but I have to kind of really dig in a little bit to get the sound to the notes to sound out loud enough. And with the new Gretsch, it's just like, man, I hit the note and it's there. It's really good. So I've just recently started using full time the new Gretsch Executive Amps. I go into a digital or sometimes analog or sometimes tape even, but a delay to get that 50s rockabilly slapback early rock and roll thing going, and then from that just straight into the amp. One thing I've been working on a lot lately are just different kinds of techniques. Like I do
What's your different, how have you developed your playing styles? Obviously,
doing a lot of this hybrid picking where it's called cross picking, where I can kind of do a banjo thing. I do a lot of things where I do double stops, where I go like, something like that, but faster, so I can. That kind of deal, so. That helps on the rock and roll songs. Hooking over here, but I'm also muting this top string. I mean, not the top one, the fifth string. And then so that way I can play this string, the fourth string here, with this finger, and that gives my right hand the ability just to kind of flail like this. So I've got a drone note going all the time, and I can. And so what I'm doing there is I'm bending over and getting both of them with my thumb. I call that the hurricane. It's not something that I think you should just go up there and just try to do. When I was talking to the split lip Rayfield guys, who they're great pickers, I asked them, I said, well, what, do you have any tips? And they said, well, we always have to warm up, and that was pretty good for me, because I'm lazy, I'll just say, I haven't warmed up, and just get up there and start trying to play the gig. But it really does make a big difference if I do get a chance to have, a solid 15 minutes of just,
Is there anything you're working on recording or doing anything in the future?
Well, yeah, we're doing a live DVD that we already did it. It's in we did it out in the Fillmore in San Francisco, and but now there's this guy Mike Drum who's really good. He's kind of making it into kind of more of a documentary kind of thing almost.
People want to visit, check out tour dates, maybe see how the documentary / live DVD is coming along. How should they check out your website? What's the website address?
ReverendHortonHeat.com.
All right, Jim. Well, thank you very much.